Let's story time a traumatic life experience. Trigger warning, this does involve essay of a minor, so if you're uncomfortable hearing those type of things, go ahead and scroll. I do not blame you at all. In light of the recent law changes and while we brace ourselves for the ones to come, I thought it would be helpful for me to share my story. Hopefully it helps someone, so let's go ahead and get into it. And also, I'm gonna try to keep this under 10 minutes. I might make a part two if needed, but I definitely don't want this to be like a 40-part series. When I was a teenager, I was pursued, manipulated, and essayed by this man. I met him at church, of all places. I was definitely a rebellious teenager searching for, I don't know, a meaning in life or something, I don't know. And my parents were definitely very hands off, which is why I feel like this person was able to, gain access to me or whatever. I started to go to church. I started to go to this Pentecostal church down the street from my house. And that is where I met Ryan. And at the time, I believe he was 27. At least that's what he told me. And I was 16. We dated for about a year or so. Dated in my mind of a child, mind you. And I got pregnant when I was 17. And then that's when he dipped, pretty much. He came to my, I think my first ultrasound or something, and then I never saw him or heard from him again until I took him to child support court. Now, in the state of Texas, this was all legal because the age of consent here is 17. And yes, there are sickos out here who will date within the lines of what they can. Here, the age of consent is 17, Alabama is 16, I believe Utah might be 15, and so on and so on we go. I spent basically my whole senior year pregnant, while this disgusting man just moved on with his life. Now, at the time, I was a part of this really evangelical, Pentecostal church or whatever, so I did not believe in abortion at that time. So I chose to keep my pregnancy. But I definitely understand that my choice is not everyone's choice. I would never, ever suggest or try to force that on anyone, especially a young teenage girl. I would never do that. Having a child that young was extremely traumatizing. Being abandoned by this piece of shit was extremely traumatizing. Now that abortion is off the table and the age of consent in Texas is 17 and the Republicans want to lower it, that means sick fucks like this guy here can continue to run around and impregnate children and leave them basically stranded. He pays $200 in child support a month, and that is it. So, see how far that gets me. These policies and these laws are meant to leave women, especially teen moms and stuff, in abject poverty for the rest of their lives. I'm definitely a lucky situation because I did not stay in poverty, but that's pretty much where my life could have ended up, being a teen mom and having little to no support system. And just to give you a little bit of statistics, the majority of teenage mothers are impregnated by grown-ass men. Not other teenage boys, but grown men. Grown men like this who can legally prey on children, on 17-year-olds, 16, 17, whatever, and get away with it. And FYI, I'm not bitter. I don't know why I should have to say that, but I feel like, you know, a lot of these misogynist men are just gonna be like, you're just a bitter baby mom or whatever. I'm not bitter. I was literally a child. I met this man at church. So hopefully this gets over to Woodlands talk, because he's out there in the Woodlands. Hide your kids for sure. He does work with children. He does do like videography and stuff for different churches. And that is how I was able to come in contact with this man. So yeah.